Welcome to the Own Your Day AI podcast, powered by RescueTime. Here we turn RescueTime's blog posts into engaging conversations that help you learn and grow. Let's get started.
Ever feel like you're just drowning in tasks, where every single email, every notification feels urgent? That sense that everything's important.
Oh, yeah.
If that sounds familiar, and let's be honest, it probably does for most of us, then you are definitely in the right place today.
It really does feel like the modern workplace is almost set up to make us feel that way, doesn't it? You know, constant demands, the never-ending to-do lists. It's a very common struggle. But the good news really is that it doesn't actually have to be your default state. There are ways to manage it.
Exactly. And that's our mission for this deep dive,
Yeah.
to give you some practical, really usable strategies, ways to cut through all that noise and figure out what truly needs your focus.
Yeah, moving from feeling swamped to feeling, well, more in control.
Right. We want to help you get a handle on your workload and hopefully reclaim some of your time and sanity.
And we've looked at quite a few different productivity ideas to pull out the best tools for this. So think of this less like another lecture on time management
Definitely not a lecture.
and more like a practical guide, a shortcut to understanding what actually works when you're facing that mountain of tasks.
Okay, so where do we even begin? When you're feeling completely overwhelmed, what's step one?
Step one, before you even think about prioritizing, is getting it all out. Everything.
Everything.
Every single task, idea, worry, project, that little thing you keep forgetting, get it out of your head and down onto some kind of list. People often call it a master list. It's like a big brain dump.
A brain dump, I like that. Just get it all out there.
Exactly, because trying to hold all that in your head, it eats up your mental bandwidth. Your brain's like RAM, right? If it's full of reminders, there's less space for actually thinking and doing.
That makes sense.
And this idea of capturing everything up front, it's a core part of systems like David Allen's Getting Things Done or GTD. We won't go into all the details of GTD, but that initial capture is fundamental.
And the tool itself doesn't really matter for this master list, does it? Like paper, app, whatever.
Not really, no. Pen and paper works. A simple notes app, a fancy project tool. Whatever you'll actually use consistently and can easily update, that's the key. Accessibility and reliability.
Okay, so you've done the brain dump. You've got this potentially massive list. Now what? Staring at that could be just as overwhelming.
Right, that's where the breakdown comes in. You take that master list and start filtering it down. Productivity experts like Brian Tracy talk about this hierarchical approach.
Hierarchical.
Yeah, you break it down into maybe monthly goals, then weekly goals, and then crucially into specific daily tasks.
So you're connecting the dots. The small stuff you do today links up to the bigger picture.
Precisely. It makes sure your daily actions aren't just random, but are actually pushing your bigger goals forward. It gives purpose, even to, the smaller tasks.
And does that help with, what's it called? Completion bias. That thing where you just do easy tasks to feel productive.
Exactly. Completion bias is that temptation to tick off small, easy things just for the satisfaction, even if they aren't that important.
We've all been there.
Oh, yeah. But when your daily tasks are clearly linked to your weekly or monthly goals, you're much more likely to focus on impact, not just ease. You prioritize what moves the needle.
Okay, got it. So master list, break
Yeah.
it down. But then when you look at your daily list, you might still have a lot of things vying for attention. How do you decide what comes first then?
That leads us nicely into the Eisenhower matrix. It's a classic tool for this.
Named after President Eisenhower, right?
That's the one. He supposedly used it. The core idea is to filter tasks based on two simple dimensions: urgency and importance.
Urgent and important. People mix those up sometimes.
They do. They're quite different. Urgent tasks demand your immediate attention. They're often reactive, like a deadline or a crisis. Think ringing phones, urgent emails.
Okay.
Important tasks, on the other hand, contribute directly to your long-term mission, your values, your big goals. They might not have a tight deadline, but they're crucial for future success. Strategic thinking, planning, relationship building, that sort of thing.
Right. And this creates the 4 boxes, the quadrants.
Exactly. The 4 quadrants. So quadrant 1 is urgent and important. These are crises, pressing problems, deadline-driven projects, the stuff you need to do immediately.
Makes sense. Do first.
Quadrant 2 is important, but not urgent. This is often where the really high-value work sits: planning, prevention, skill development, exercise, relationship building. Because it's not urgent, you have to decide or schedule when you'll do it. Be proactive.
Okay, the strategic stuff, schedule it.
Quadrant 3 is urgent but not important. This is the deceptive one. Lots of interruptions, some meetings, certain emails, popular activities. They feel urgent, maybe because someone else wants them done, but they don't help your goals. The advice here, delegate.
Delegation. That's often easier said than done, isn't it?
It really is. It feels faster to just do it yourself sometimes. But there's this interesting idea, the 30x rule, related to delegation.
30x. That sounds like a lot.
It does initially. The concept is you should be willing to invest up to 30 times the task's usual duration to train someone else properly. So a 5-minute task might take, what, 150 minutes, 2.5 hours to train?
Wow. Why would you do that?
Because of the long-term payoff. Let's say that 5-minute task happens daily. You save 25 minutes a week. The 150-minute training pays for itself in 6 weeks. Over a year, that's well over 20 hours saved from just that one task. It's leverage.
Okay, that reframes it. It's an investment, not just an expense of time.
Exactly. It's a way to buy back future time. And this ties into the Pareto principle, too, the 80-20 rule. Try to delegate the 80% of tasks that give maybe 20% of the results, freeing you for the high-impact 20%.
Got it. So Q1, do shoe. Schedule. Q3, delegate. What's the last one?
Quadrant 4 is neither urgent nor important. These are the true time wasters. Trivia, some calls, excessive web surfing, things you do to procrastinate. The goal here is simple. Delete or drop them, minimize ruthlessly.
Okay. Be honest with yourself about those.
Absolutely. Self-awareness is key there.
So the Eisenhower matrix gives us a great filter. But what if, after using it, you still have like 5 things in that urgent and important box? How do you pick which of those critical tasks to do first?
Excellent question. That's where another beautifully simple method comes in handy, the Ivy Lee method.
Ivy Lee. Tell me about that.
It's over a century old, but incredibly effective. The process is dead simple. At the end of each workday, you write down the 6 most important tasks you need to accomplish tomorrow.
Just 6. That forces you to choose, doesn't it?
It really does. You have to genuinely prioritize. Then you rank those 6 tasks in order of their true importance, not just urgency, but impact.
Okay, rank the 6, then what?
The next day, you start working only on task number 1. You focus solely on it until it's completely finished. No switching.
Single tasking.
Pure single tasking. Only when number 1 is done do you move to number 2, then number 3, and so on down the list.
What if you don't finish all 6 by the end of the day?
Any unfinished tasks just get moved to the new list of 6 you create for the next day. You repeat the process daily.
I like the clarity and the discipline of that. It fights multitasking.
Yeah.
But limiting to 6 seems, well, limiting.
That's the point. It forces realism and intense focus. If you consistently can't finish 6, maybe you're not picking the most important, or maybe 6 is too many for your specific role or day, you adjust.
Okay, interesting. Now, Brian Tracy, who you mentioned earlier, also has a method for ranking, the ABCDE method. How's that different or related?
It adds another layer of granularity, I suppose. With ABCDE, you assign a letter to each task on your list.
Okay.
A tasks are the most important. Things with serious consequences, positive or negative, if you do or don't do them, your absolute must-dos.
A is top priority. Got it.
Beta tasks are things you should do. They have minor consequences. Maybe someone's inconvenienced if you don't, but it's not critical like an A task. The rule is never do a B task when an A task is left undone.
Okay, clear hierarchy. What about C, D, E?
C's tasks are things that would be nice to do, but there are no real consequences if you don't, like calling a friend or having coffee. D tasks are ones you can and should delegate. And E tasks are those you should eliminate whenever possible, things that are no longer necessary or don't add value.
So it explicitly builds in delegation and elimination, like the Eisenhower matrix, but within a single list structure.
Exactly. But there's one more crucial step. For your A tasks, if you have more than one, you then number them. A1, A2, A3 in order of importance. Same for your B tasks, C tasks, if needed.
So A1 is the absolute most critical thing on the entire list.
Precisely. It forces you to really identify your single most important task for the day, even among other A-level priorities. It adds that final layer of clarity.
That makes a lot of sense for really drilling down.
Okay.
So we have ways to structure the list, rank the items, but what about actually starting? Especially those big, maybe unpleasant A1 tasks.
Yeah, the procrastination monster. That's where the concept of eating the frog comes in.
Eating the frog. Sounds appetizing.
Well, it's based on a Mark Twain quote. He supposedly said, eat a live frog first thing in the morning and nothing worse will happen to you the rest of the day.
Okay, so the frog is your worst task.
Your biggest, most important task, MIT. Often, it's also the one you're most likely to procrastinate on because it's difficult or complex. The idea is, Tackle that A1 task, your frog, first thing. Get it done before anything else.
So you build momentum and get the hardest part over with.
Exactly. You get that sense of accomplishment right away. And there's research to back this up. Teresa Emmabile at Harvard found that the single biggest motivator at work is making progress in meaningful work.
The progress principle.
Right. Getting that early win on your most important task sets a positive tone for the entire day. It fuels your energy and motivation.
Okay, eat the frog first. Got it. Now, these methods seem great for daily, maybe weekly focus, but how do we make sure all this daily prioritizing lines up with our bigger, longer-term goals?
That's a crucial question. And for that, we can look at Warren Buffett's rather stark approach, his two-list strategy.
Buffett. Okay, I'm listening. What's the strategy?
It's deceptively simple. First, you write down your top 25 career or life goals. Everything you want to achieve.
25. Okay, that's a fair number.
Then, and this is the critical step, you carefully review that list and circle your top 5, the 5 that matter most to you.
Okay. Top 5 circled. Standard enough so far. What about the other 20?
Here's the twist. Those other 20 goals, you put them on a second list, and the second list becomes your avoid at all costs list.
Avoid them. But they were in my top 25. They must be important too.
That's exactly his point. They are important. They're interesting, appealing things you could pursue, and that's why they're dangerous. They're seductive distractions.
Wow.
They're close enough to your top priorities to tempt you, to pull your focus and energy away from the 5 things that truly matter most, so you actively avoid working on them until you achieve your top 5.
That's really counterintuitive. Actively avoid good goals.
It is, but it underlines the immense power of focus. You simply cannot pursue 25 goals effectively at once. By consciously deciding what not to do, even if it's appealing, you dramatically increase your odds of success on your absolute top priorities. Ruthless focus.
That requires serious discipline. Okay, so focus is key.
Yeah.
But things change, right? What if one of our priorities, even a top one, stops making sense? We can't just blindly stick to the plan, can we?
Absolutely not. And that's where we need to be aware of the sunk cost fallacy.
Sunk cost.
Uh-huh.
That's when you keep doing something just because you've already put time or money into it.
Precisely. Like finishing a bad movie just because you're already an hour in. Or continuing a project that's clearly failing just because you've invested so much effort.
Right.
When it comes to priorities, we need the flexibility to reevaluate. If circumstances change, if a goal is no longer relevant, if a project isn't yielding results, we have to be willing to cut our losses and pivot. Don't let past investment dictate a bad future decision.
So it's like better to switch to a new boat than keep bailing water in one that's sinking.
Excellent analogy. Be willing to switch boats. Adaptability is crucial for effective long-term prioritization.
Okay, so we're managing tasks, managing long-term focus, staying flexible. Is there anything else to consider in this prioritization puzzle?
Yes, thinking about time itself, specifically the idea of time multipliers.
Time multipliers, what are those?
They're actions you take today that actually create more time for you in the future. It's about investing time now to save or free up significantly more time later.
Interesting, like the delegation example earlier.
Exactly. Delegation is a classic time multiplier. But so is creating a system for a recurring task, or building a template, or learning a new skill that makes you faster, or even just setting up a truly distraction-free work environment.
So it's about working smarter, setting things up for future efficiency.
Precisely. Rory Vaden, a leadership author, suggests asking yourself, what's the most important thing I can do today that would make tomorrow better? That question steers you towards time multipliers. Many of the prioritization strategies we've discussed are, in effect, time multipliers because they stop you wasting time on low-value activities.
It's a powerful lens. Okay, one more thing then. We've talked about what to prioritize, but what about when to do it? Does timing matter?
Oh, absolutely. This links to understanding your personal productivity curve.
Productivity curve.
Yeah.
Like when you have the most energy.
Exactly. We all have natural peaks and troughs in our energy and focus throughout the day. Some people are sharpest first thing, others hit their stride mid-morning, some get a second wind in the afternoon. Rarely are we at peak performance all day long.
Right. I definitely feel that afternoon slump sometimes.
Most people do. The key is to figure out your peak times. When are you most alert, focused, and capable of deep work?
How do you figure that out reliably? Just guessing.
You can start by paying attention, but tools can really help. Things like RescueTime or similar apps can track how you spend your computer time and often reveal patterns. You might see you're way more productive between 9 and 11 a.m., for instance.
Okay, so you track, identify your peak hours, then what?
Then you strategically schedule your most important tasks, your A1 tasks, your frog during those peak energy windows. You align your highest priorities with your highest capacity.
So you tackle the tough stuff when you're at your best.
Right. And you save the more routine, lower energy tasks, maybe checking email, administrative stuff for your natural energy lulls. You work with your body's rhythm, not against it. Time blocking based on your energy levels can be really effective.
Work with your rhythm. I like that. Okay, this has been incredibly comprehensive. Master lists, matrices, frogs, long-term focus, multipliers, timing. Feels like we've covered a lot of ground.
There are many tools available.
But I think we need to end on a note of, well, reality.
Mm,
Even with all these amazing systems, we're still human, right?
that is such a critical point. Yes. It's vital to be realistic. You can have the best prioritization system in the world, but unexpected things will crop up. Urgent requests will land on your desk. Interruptions will happen.
Life happens.
Life happens. The goal isn't to become some kind of flawless productivity robot who executes a perfect plan every single day. That's impossible and, frankly, sounds miserable.
Agreed.
The real goal is to have a system that helps you consistently make progress on the things that truly matter. It's about ending most days feeling like, okay, maybe I didn't get everything done, but I made headway on the important stuff.
That feeling of meaningful progress, like you mentioned with the amiable research.
Exactly. That sense of accomplishment, of having directed your energy intentionally, is far more sustainable and rewarding than just feeling busy all the time without getting anywhere significant. It allows you to actually switch off and rest.
That's a great way to frame it.
Yeah.
Okay, so wrapping this up, mastering prioritization. It's really a skill we can learn. It's not some innate talent.
Definitely a learnable skill.
And it can genuinely change how you feel about your work and even your life outside of work. We've touched on a lot today, getting everything out with a master list, filtering with the Eisenhower matrix, focusing with Ivy Lee's 6 tasks, layering with A, B, C, D, E, tackling the big one first by eating the frog, focusing long-term with Buffett's 2 lists, staying flexible by avoiding sunk costs, creating future time with multipliers, and aligning tasks with your own productivity curve.
It's a whole toolkit, really. The different tools might resonate more depending on your situation or personality.
So maybe the challenge for you listening right now is this. Don't try to implement everything at once. That might just feel overwhelming again.
Good point. Start small.
Yeah, pick just one method or idea from our conversation today that really clicked for you. Maybe it's the Ivy Lee method. Maybe it's just identifying your frog. Whatever it is, commit to trying just that one thing starting tomorrow.
See how it feels. Notice the impact.
Exactly. Just observe what changes in your focus, your stress levels, your sense of accomplishment. So maybe think about it tonight. Which frog are you going to eat first thing tomorrow morning? Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.
Thanks for joining us on the Own Your Day AI podcast, powered by RescueTime. We're here to help you turn insights into action for a more productive and balanced life. Be sure to subscribe and visit our blog for more resources. See you next time.